are hopeful for our friends.
We are hopeful about the ocean. Freedom.
The beauty of the flowers that we see every day.
The future.
The future of education, to describe it in one word, to me the word is eco. The word eco comes from Greek, means home. And when I think about the purpose of home, I think very important is actually to help us know where we are, who are we with, how are we in relation to each other, and then how can we all take care of the home we have. So whether it is our immediate home, family, our community, and this ultimate home, which is our planet Earth, that we live and we share with numerous living beings, I feel that's the true essence and the true purpose of education. So how can we feel at home? And how can we make this home livable, pleasant, a place that you want to stay, your other family members want to stay, and it's a good environment for trees or birds or mammals to feel home. They all have their place. But now are we doing a job giving each person, each being, their own space to be who they are and feel at home, feel comfortable in that space, and to respect that diversity with shared love and understanding and respect for this home? If education can fulfill that purpose to be truly equal when we think, when we speak, when we act, then our mission is complete.
The singular most powerful idea driving the regenerative movement is the idea that we need to find solutions to solve the problems with the planet. And it's very important that our schools head into this and enter into this space with joy, innovation, creativity, curiosity, and hope. And the idea is we will solve problems when we engage in the solutions and that we look for solutions. And our students are our pathway to that because they come full of ideas and full of curiosity. And they sometimes come up with the most amazing ideas that help drive us forward.
For me, regenerative education is future of the education, and it should be future of the education. I am being hopeful that people of the future will be educated this way, and Earth itself will have mutualistic relationships together in the future, hopefully. Yeah.
I think one of the key differences between regenerative education and sustainably minded education is that we're not trying to achieve the bottom line. We're trying to go beyond and add back to nature in a way that's healing and revitalizing.
So many of the most fundamental connections for us all have been broken, and we have to renew them. We have to renew our connections to self, our connections to others, and our connections to nature. And we have to renew them all at the same time because they're part of the same unity.
Becoming involved in regenerative education has allowed me to look at the world more systemically, to notice how the world can be seen as an ecosystem. And this includes our communities, our earth ecosystems, our school ecosystems, all of the points of connection and the way in which any system works. Regenerative is an aspect that can be a positive drive in any ecosystem, taking us away from negative patterns and negative cycles into positive patterns and positive cycles. So I look at it as all the practices that allow us to grow. And this is a whole way of seeing any system, and certainly the system of school.
The word regenerative makes me think about restorative processes. And restoration is really about helping ecology thrive. Humans have been part of the ecology and how ecology has worked since we've been on this planet. And so regenerative education has that notion of restoration in it, of ecological restoration. How do we continue to fall in love with all of the things around us, other than human spirits all around us? This, I think, is a notion inside of regenerative education.
I think many people, they are stuck and not feeling hopeful about the current education system. They are trying to learn from new models, more holistic models. For example, science, how to make science holistic. Thinking about art, how to use the power of art and interdisciplinary learning, and integrate our head, our heart, our hands, and community-based learning, how to live together, how to learn together, and even how to learn from other species. And I feel if we can maintain that openness, that willingness, using our heart, our mind, and this amazing ability to act, it is hopeful.
IDI is the pursuit of learning and not memorization and knowledge, where you use that to create a finished product that is actually implemented and useful to people.
As a class, we focused on the issue of single-use waste, specifically in the AES community. Single-use waste is such a big part of all of our lives, but it can be kind of hard to really grasp how much it affects our lives and our planet too.
Our world heavily relies on convenience. I mean, who wouldn't want takeout pizza on a Friday night? Or a cool can of soda after a long day at school? Single-use items are easy, accessible, and affordable. They are everywhere. But it's important to remember, for every takeout pizza, there might be a pizza box that doesn't get recycled. For every can of soda, there might be a straw or bottled cap that could end up in our oceans.
The teacher gives you a rubric where you have to meet standards like it has to be engaging, it has to have elements that incorporate the audience. And they give you this knowledge, ideas, and what you have to do, and you can basically do anything. Especially at AES, where we have all these diverse cultures. I feel like you're able to create this global perspective on how the issues you're talking about and trying to solve can have implications everywhere.
So what I wanted to do with this video was to think a little bit more creatively, and this is what led to my decision to use a video game. I wanted the video to serve as kind of a reminder to the viewers to start taking small initiatives in their lives, like using a reusable cup instead of a paper one, or bringing their home lunch instead of opting to buy the school lunch, which may have single-use products in it. This video was kind of the last piece of the puzzle that kind of represented what we learned throughout the year about the problem and what we could do to solve the issues.
Most of my time is spent with post-secondary students, so people who are doing their tertiary degrees. These are students who are interested in teaching and learning. When I think about the schools that they're going into, or the learning opportunities they're creating, what they're doing is they're kind of supporting this heart of Earth. It's pumping in this beautiful way that's helping provide oxygenated blood, to keep that metaphor going, all around the world. How many times in our lives do we think back to our schooling? And sometimes they're not great, but sometimes we have these stories that we just hold on to our whole lives that happen from great teachers or great moments in school where we go fishing, or we have this moment on a stage in a theater, and we get to we lean into that part of our identity. And I think it's a really important part of being on Earth, and the schooling that is attempting to unschool is also part of that, this notion of disrupting or reinvigorating how we do school.
Because hope is contagious. And when we find ourselves in really troubling places, the most impactful way to move forward is to feel the energy of others who care about what we care about. There's a lot of things to be hopeful about, and I think we're really trapped in narratives of doom. We reproduce them over and over again in the way we teach, we reproduce them in the way we talk about issues, and I think we do it, honestly, because we love things. We love the planet, we love each other, we love what's happening in other communities, and that love, when those things are broken and there's a lot of threats, the tendency is to raise the alarm and say, this is so broken, and to then look at the problems that cause that thing. But when that is so heavily oriented in that direction, we lose the capacity to actually move towards that which we need.
So I'd love to share a quote that's very dear to me. It's by James Baldwin. We can't tell the children there is no hope. And this is kind of the philosophy I try to take with hope as well. Even when we feel the depths of despair and feel like nothing can change and that everything is over, there is always children that will be asking, what's going to happen tomorrow? And is there hope? We must create that hope, and we must try to change the world for the better. We must come together and we must actively work towards co-creating that future for ourselves, for future generations, for this one big organism of a world, because we deserve it and the world deserves it.
We are an incredible species full of very creative people who have so many diverse takes on things. So the more regenerative we are, the more we welcome other species into our learning, the way we put ourselves into natural environments, just the richer and richer everything becomes.
Let's kick things off with something we can all relate to: food waste. Our pre-order system, used primarily by elementary school students, has reduced food waste by over 10%. Additionally, the new coffee machines we've implemented in faculty rooms has cut down tea and coffee waste by over 20%. And at our plate collection points, we separate regular garbage from organic waste. This allows us to track waste trends by weight, helping us identify ways to minimize it even further. Plus, our organic waste doesn't go to a landfill. It's sent to a bio-CNG plant for methane production or to a local pig farm.
The journey started a decade ago, thanks to us AIC students. We've noticed that the school uses a lot of paper cups at their water dispensers and pushed for a shift to reusable bottles and cups. The initiative has saved us from using 1.5 million paper cups over the years.
When we built our campus track, we designed it with an underground drainage system that directs rainwater runoff to our collection pond. This rainwater irrigates to our field and other green spaces around campus.
Since the municipal water and sewage services weren't available when we constructed the campus, we've installed a fully functional water and sewage treatment plant. This lets us use the grey water from our sinks and showers and reuse it to flush toilets. This even lets us treat the water from our rainwater pond for this purpose.
Did you know our 900 solar panels now generate 20% of our peak electricity need? Since we don't have any battery storage, any excess power we generate on weekends, holidays, or during the summer is sent back to the Chennai power grid, contributing clean energy to the greater community. Small changes can lead to big impacts. Each of these initiatives, from food and solid waste to energy and water, reflects our commitment to a sustainable, cleaner, and greener future here at AISC.
Science has done an incredible job over the last years in proving indisputably that climate change is real, habitat loss is real. But even now we still face some denial of that, and that's a challenge we have to keep working through. Otherwise, I think the challenges now are about behaviour change. We know, don't we, from very good research, just how hard it is for humans to change how they behave. Our patterns, our habits become highly ingrained. And the real work, I think, of making the changes we need does require a little bit of pain as we shift. And so I think what we have to try to do wherever possible is simply offer better options. That's my solution.
There's this contrast in seeing what's happening around the world, seeing all these catastrophes, especially environmental catastrophes, and on the other side, continuing to live my regular life as a student, as a person in my family, in my community. And it's very hard to kind of go on about my day like nothing is happening. And I think that contrast kind of creates this sense of despair and a lost connection. And from time to time, I feel hopeless, I feel burnt out. I think all of us in the environmental field have to keep maintaining that hope with a lot of care.
One of the goals that I have in the role that I do as a Dean of Regenerative Education is to create a safe space for everybody to share where they're entering the space from, to share their perspectives and their attitudes. There's a lot of pressure, perhaps, from adults in students' lives to be somebody other than they are. In order for students to create real connection with the environment and real connection with regenerative education, they need to feel that it's a part of their identity. And that takes time. I like to compare identity realization with popcorn popping in a microwave, right? The kernels pop at different times and everybody moves at a different pace. I think it's important to grant students that time, to be patient, to be mindful, to let them know that it's okay if it's not their day. It's okay if they're entering with a cynical perspective, and that we start from that location and approach the work with a lens of hope.
And another challenge I think that a lot of people in this field face is just how big the stakes are and how not a lot of the stakeholders are willing to participate in that demand for change. Because there are very set systems that are not regenerative in the world, it's very hard to try to get in from this little clearing and change the system into a regenerative one. And a lot of the times, I think young people feel that they're not heard in their demands and that they're not heard in their fight to co-create a better world together.
Most of the time, in news and from people, we usually observe bad news. We see many disasters that are increasing in amount because of the climate change. And we don't really see hopeful news. And I think that really affects our work because we started to think that we're working for nothing. And if we started to look for evidence-based positive change around us, we can really start to think positively about the actions that we are taking and the impact that we will have to the nature around us.
So this is maybe one of the most visible daily sites where we're practicing regeneration at the school. We're trying to eliminate the idea of waste and to create something new out of what typically would have been waste. So the students, after they eat, whatever is left on their plates, instead of tossing it into the trash, we ask them to separate it. And so students will separate out fruits, vegetables, grains into one bin, and those are things that go directly into our compost bins here at school. They separate dairy and milk with an idea to having bokashi composting, which is one way to deal with dairy. We're not there yet, but that's one of our next steps. The meat products, which cannot be composted in our system, are set aside for the campus cats. We have a large population of stray cats on campus, and we have feeding stations for them at some places. So that is how we try to reuse and turn the waste from the kitchen into something that can be used to fertilize the grounds at school. I think it's a way for students to see these practices that maybe they've read about in a science class, to actually see them happening in their daily lives, but also for them to really feel like there is something that they can do, a sense of agency that we can give young people, that together with all of my friends, with the other people at the school, this becomes something larger. And so instead of creating 70 kilos of waste a day, we'll create, a bunch of compost that can be used again. And I think that's a great educational moment for kids.
A powerful experience was spending time with one of NESA's thought leaders named Otto Scharmer, who is a systems thinker who developed Theory U, the practice of presencing. The practice of U theory involves descending down an inquiry with an open mind, an open heart, and an open will, and keeping at bay those voices that can be destructive. The voice of cynicism, the voice of fear, and the voice of judgment. And this encourages us into the kind of stance that allows for innovative ideas, for curiosity, and for leading from the future as it emerges, sensing what wants to happen and what can happen.
I remember whilst teaching at my very first school, whilst a young teacher, taking some students hiking in some mountains in England. And it was that rare thing in England, a hot day, and they all drank their water. They used up their water too quickly. And we could see that just about a kilometre away, marked on the map, was a natural spring. And I took those students to that spring, and for the first time in their lives, they drank from water coming out of the ground with some astonishment. What, sir, it doesn't come out of a bottle or the tap? Yes, this is where water comes from. And the great sense of kind of connection to nature that they had from this astonishing revelation was just one of many moments, I think, that when we immerse ourselves, when we immerse our students in the natural world, we renew those connections I was just talking about. And we take them through such a simple action into a much more profound experiential space of what it is to be human and how we are connected with everything if we just remember and return to it.
So last year, as a school, a couple of students and I went to Dalyan, to the beach with the team, our teachers. And then there's an association there that called Kodaikanal, protecting sea turtles for them to reproduce easily and because they're endangered. And then we attended one of their sessions at night, walk. So that day I saw like sea turtle laying its eggs. And that was something that I thought like, we're doing this and people, like I am one of them who are helping sea turtles to do this. So that really was a part of a big thing for me. Yeah.
A goal of mine this year to create a PTA committee focused on sustainability. And the purpose of this would be to have parents look at every event that they plan or engaged in planning from a regenerative lens and thinking about the material waste from this event. Perhaps if we have to fly people in for an event, are we offsetting that? I think engaging them in thinking about different events and programs from a lens of sustainability is perhaps the first step in creating a community that is focused on a regenerative model of education.
The education programs here at the Cow School are not only happening inside the classrooms during the school day, but we are also looking to reach the students when they are inside their homes and with their families. This is the reason we are hosting family composting nights. Building a food composter together as a family fosters a sense of shared ownership and responsibility. Working together also ensures everyone understands the composting process, leading to constant and proper maintenance of the food composter.
I think composting is like a great way to manage like how we have healthy soil and just generally be better for the environment as a whole.
I really appreciate the opportunity to come with my family, to have my kid learn about this opportunity that we have to actually use the stuff that we create in our house to do something productive with our waste and to contribute a little bit to reduce the impact of our own like family life, normal family life, and spending here some time contributing, working together and giving him an opportunity to learn.
Composting is a way of recycling. It helps the environment and makes plants grow. Doing the family compost night at the Cow School was a fun activity to do with my family.
I think the best part of all is that this experience has helped my children care more about nature and really have an appreciation for what's around them. And I think they also are going to have a great sense of pride in what they have helped do here in this space.
When I was in my prep year at the start of high school and everything was online, our school's Social Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Creativity Office created this challenge called the SDG Challenge. And I've now been a part of that office for the past 5 years. And within that challenge, it was the first of its kind. We were focusing on SDG 13, which is climate action. And for 7 months in teams within the 30 students that were there and all our mentors, we learned everything about the stages of design thinking, about the specific issues within the climate crisis and what we could do about them. We tried to equip the tools necessary to create solutions to these issues. And so that project just gave all of us that solutions perspective and that feeling that at the end of those 7 months, we were all young change makers and we could change the world even as high schoolers. And I didn't know that I was allowed to think that at such a young age, I had the ability and power to create impact and change in the world with other peers and students. So,
our PE teacher, Mr. Pearson, organizes these trips. And well, he came like 2 years ago. Before that, there wasn't such thing, and there was COVID also, so I didn't really get to do anything in nature for a few years. And I've always loved biology, especially after when I went to high school, because I got to learn more about it. Actually, I'm a little bit scared to go out to the wild, but when I saw Mr. Pearson's camping trip, I was like, why not? I didn't even have it in mind, and then suddenly I was like, maybe I should do this. And then I just did it. It was spontaneous, and I'm very proud of myself because I went through so much. Like, I saw how harsh environment could be. It rained terribly. At the end, I was so satisfied with my efforts, and I got to see a lot of beautiful sceneries, I interacted with nature so much. I was quite happy there, even though it was really hard. So I'm proud of myself for doing this.
I've been a beekeeper for a long time, since about 25 years now. I asked, could we have bees on school? Because we have such a beautiful campus with so much different flowers and so many different trees. So there would be a source for nectar and pollen, etc. It was in 2020, maybe. It was during the pandemic. But anyway, we have now about 4 years, we have these hives. And the first year, it went fantastic together with some students, of course, because it's not for me that I want to keep these bees here. It's for the students. Because I very strongly believe that beekeeping is just one stepping stone to understand the big scheme of things. When you look at one species, that species is always connected to other species. That can be either flora or fauna, the place where they live. And then you get more careful to look around you and to observe and to know. It will deepen the knowledge about all the things around you. And I have a very, very nice group of students, and they're deeply interested in bees. And they are also very deeply interested in wild bees. What we do with them as well is we do workshops in other parts of Turkey, where we then teach workshops to other students. It's a sort of community involvement project that we do as well. For instance, we are going to go to a village where there is a women's cooperative. Each of them have 2 hives. They have learned to be beekeepers only this year. And now we are going to give workshops to them to tell how they can make creams, how they can make a propolis tincture, soap. It's sort of spreading out. I mean, they're going a little bit into chemistry as well. They're going into other nature as well. And each of them, of course, has a natural tendency for a certain subject, and they can go deeper in that subject. I don't always have to steer it. It evolves by itself as well. And when these students are going to leave school, there need to come other students. They have to teach each other, and then I'll see what the other students like. And I can't tell beforehand what's going to happen.
I would like most of my classes to be outside, because we usually have our classes, like most of the time have our classes at the class and indoors. And I think that really separates nature and us, even though we have a beautiful campus with nature surrounding us. And I think we could have outdoor classes that will actually connect us with nature at the end of the day, yes.
Here at school, at the plateau, right by the Bosphorus, there are all these trees, and when I have the time, I just like to get my coat or something and lay down on the ground beneath those trees and by the sea. And I just feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. As I look into the sky, I feel part of a whole, and I feel equal to everything around me.
Nature and environment, I would say, please treat them as a friend. Maybe you haven't met this friend yet, or maybe you know it for a little bit, but then try to figure out how can you know this friend a bit better, and then establish a deeper friendship, relationship. And everything we can do is to simply go out, to feel the season, to see what's there in the season. What's the color of the season? Is it blue or green or maybe yellow or red? And to feel the richness of the aroma in the air, to feel the temperature on your skin, and to listen to insects, listen to birds, because we are human and we not just have this mind. The majority of us is our body, but we actually don't use our body much. We all like a hug. So you can feel the warmth of the other person. You can hear the heartbeat, right? And then friendship starts from there. Simply go out and then be surprised by the awe and wonder and beauty, and everything will happen from there.
Nestled in the Palani Hills of the Western Ghats, one of the world's 10 most threatened biodiversity hotspots, Kodaikanal International School draws inspiration and purpose from its unique natural surroundings. KIS began its journey toward environmental stewardship by focusing on reducing its own ecological impact, transforming its campus into a model of sustainability. For KIS students, the Social and Environmental Education program ensures that environmental stewardship is an integral part of their academic journey. From grades 6 through 12, students participate in activities aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as practicing organic farming in community gardens, cleaning up vulnerable forest patches, and developing renewable energy models. These experiences equip students with the tools to lead sustainable initiatives, both locally and globally. The story of KIS is one of belonging, a love for the land that shapes us and sustains us. This love inspires care and responsibility for the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. Practices at KIS show that meaningful change begins not with perfect resources, but with passion and resolve. By acting where we are, with what resources we have, the KIS community has proven that hope is not passive. It is built through intention and action.
I know a lot of my friends are trying to make the school a better environmental place. I know they're working about the carbon emissions and environmental action clubs. They're like beehives. There's a club for making garden in our school, like planting. And I think that's really amazing. And also there are recycling posts everywhere. I know all of my friends recycle their food after we eat it. I think that's really helpful. We always try to recycle and close the lights, which is, I think, a basic thing anyways. But other than that, I think school clubs and activities we do CIP projects about cleaning. We do cleaning projects around the beach, and all the clubs that are supporting the environment. I think there are a lot of movements in school about the environment, and most of my peers are interested in it, and I'm glad to see that.
My classmates are all incredible people, I think, and they're all very unique and have unique skills. And they're also, I think, all with good hearts and conscience. For example, after the earthquake that happened in 2023 in the Hatay region of the country, I remember this feeling of despair taking over the entire country, and I remember my classmates and teachers were all very heartbroken by it, but we all wanted to do something about it. We all wanted to take initiative and help as much as we could to maybe touch people's lives there and feel like we were contributing to lessening the pain there. So last year, one of my teachers from that region actually told us about this project that Blocks for Hope was doing, which is a 100th year village in the earthquake zone, which would be very helpful to the families there, so creating permanent
residences for them in this very sustainable and closed-loop model of a village, like a modern eco-village kind of. Like the entire class just wanted to help, wanted to join. They all wanted to take initiative. So we created this club at school called Teens for Hope. And it was just very inspiring to see how willing and how quick my classmates were when they felt that hope that they could make a difference, make an impact.
Schools are a place of learning. And what matters most is that we put students at the heart, at the center of that learning. In order to create a regenerative education space, which involves creating a culture change. And it's incredibly difficult to change culture. It takes a lot of time. As institutions, we should really spend more time generating culture change at schools by engaging students in active projects, by constantly repeating different mantras that we maybe have or rituals on campus and connecting them directly to students with nature.
New generations, as much as people like to complain about them, do care about the world, and when given the tools and the opportunity to do so, they will do incredible things. So that's why I think innovation is the thing that excites me most.
Let's travel to Kathmandu, Nepal, as we learn from our students at Lincoln School. As one of the school's flagship programs, Service Nepal engages secondary school students in week-long experiences that combine cultural exploration, service learning, and connecting with the community through traditional dance, farming, and cooking. For grade 10, this transformative journey focuses on building earth-bag homes for families displaced by Nepal's 2015 earthquake. The essential question guiding this experience is, how does constructing a house differ from creating a home? And it inspires deeper reflection on the physical and emotional aspects of providing shelter and belonging. Through this hands-on project, students explore the revolutionary earthbag technology, which uses soil from the worksite to create disaster-resistant, eco-friendly, and cost-effective homes. These structures reduce reliance on manufactured materials, minimize environmental harm, and contribute to sustainable rebuilding in disaster-prone areas. The message is simple yet profound. Small, meaningful steps can ripple outward to create a better world. By teaching students the importance of inquiry, action, and empathy, programs like Service Nepal inspire hope and equip the next generation to lead with purpose and compassion.
One of the things we're learning is to point true north toward well-being. We're at a time where there are lots of things in society that are collapsing. Our world is in a stage of collapse, but with collapse, like crisis, comes opportunity. Our schools are based on a past, and the future is full of opportunity if we listen to what wants to happen. To listen means to have a regenerative mindset, that we can not only sustain, and we don't want to look past to sustaining practices of the past. We want to look to creating, add value for the future.
So for me, future of education should be in a way that people will support Earth and themselves, and not only for 12 or 16 years of their life, but also a lifelong experience that they will have. And that brings me hope.
What is working well here already, and how do we amplify what's working well? Because I think we're very aware of what's broken. It's much harder work to look for what's working well and to support it, amplify it, praise it, really appreciate it in ways that help that better thing to thrive.
The message that I would give to schools that are just beginning their journey in regenerative education is to start where you are. Our best thought leaders tell us, start where you are, work with what you have, and do what you can.
Include important partners, like the partners in your local community, the environment in your community, the atmosphere, the air, the water, the trees, the animals. Please do design this new school model with all partners, humans, non-humans, who might speak your language, might speak their native language, might not speak at all, but we can find a way to listen their messages to their perspectives, and then to co-create regenerative schools with all of them.
To take a stance of hope as a choice, to choose to hope. When you do that, you've made a commitment to find whatever can most effectively move us in the directions we need more of. So it starts with a choice, and then it becomes a feeling, and that feeling then drives that choice. So it's like a perpetual motion of meaningful engagement.
I would advise them to take initiative to change that thing that they feel maybe sad or uncomfortable about. Talk with others, create a community or a club around that, and just try to make your voice heard as much as you can, and really try to tackle that problem. And spend time with nature as much as you can, because once we spend time in nature, we love nature, and we start loving the world through that, and we start loving people more through that as well. If a person does not love something, then they can fight for it.
Throughout the NESA region, communities of learners are engaging with meaningful regenerative practices.
What I love most about the garden is that the soil is rich and fresh, and it's good for planting seeds.
Across the developmental continuum, students are nurturing their connection to the land, its many creatures, and to one another. Here, we have a range of projects that showcase some of these schooling practices in action. What a powerful embodiment of our commitment to sustainability, service learning, and meaningful global citizenship.
At AIS, we link our units of inquiry to the United Nations Global Goals for Sustainable Development.
At its heart, regenerative education is about moving from isolated, extractive, negative cycles towards future-oriented, ecologically mindful, deeply collaborative forms of learning. Learning that is productive and unfolds in a way that is not only sustaining, but generative and growing.
Here's where we keep all of our endangered plants and a lot of different animals so that we can save them.
Global Awareness Investigation and Action, or GAIA, is run from elementary school all the way up to high school. And students enrolled in GAIA come from different schools, from different socio-economic backgrounds, which allow us all to bring our ideas together and regenerate a new solution to today's problems.
Let us celebrate a rising generation of environmental stewards and global citizens, learning with their heads, hearts, and hands.